Joining us now, Jeff Webb. Jeff spends a lot of time in the United Kingdom. Jeff is the founder and chairman of New American Populist, and he's really got to be excited about our new show, every day, 7 days a week, 9 to 10, War Room Impeachment, episode 3 coming today at 9. Hey, Jeff, great to have you, man.
Hey, good to talk to you. Glad to be back with you, and congratulations on the deal with Steve Bannon. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, Steve is he's a genius, first of all, and was so important in getting the president reelected. And he's out there. He's a soldier, isn't he, for the populist cause.
Well, he's doing this 7 days a week, and basically this is the way it was conceived. People like me that send the message out were frustrated that there's no impeachment war room in the White House. They don't really have a staff. The talking points they were sending out were really ridiculous, and they were just not serving the president well. So Bannon said, let's do it ourselves and just do it every day on the air and air it out in complete transparency. And so that's kind of what the vision is, and the first couple episodes have been fantastic. Jeff, we're going to jump around a lot today. Jeff Webb, again, founder and chairman of New American Populist. I want to start with the United Kingdom and Brexit. Boris Johnson trying his damnedest to get the hell out of this thing. I mean, every time he tries to do it, the bureaucrats, the politicians block him. Again, kind of like Trump and all this stuff going on. Like, the establishment class in the UK doesn't care what the voters want. They want what they want, right? What's going on there?
Right. They're fighting the same battle that we are. It's just kind of a different cause, if you will. The same people that are opposed to President Trump moving his agenda forward that really is beneficial to the middle class, which is what is most important to our organization. You've got the same type of people in the UK. They're elitist. They're benefiting from being in the EU. They're ignoring the will of the people. And so they're fighting the same thing. I think it's Boris Johnson had an heroic effort, but having been over there, I think you remember I talked with you, and I was over there last time when the whole Brexit issue just bubbled up, and they had that first meeting, really, of the Brexit party with the potential candidates. But I really believe that if Boris Johnson had taken Nigel Farage up on his offer from the very beginning, just to say, partner with us, don't worry about anybody else, and we'll end up with the majority, and we'll get this thing through, I think they'd be sitting in a much better place right now. As it appears now, go ahead.
Why didn't he do that?
It's a great question. I don't know whether it was political, whether he was worried that Farage's profile would be lifted so much that it would be a threat to him. I really don't know. But I think it was a huge mistake. And you kind of end up in the spot right now where he is, where he's gotten approval for his deal, if you will. But now the timetable's been moved back. That's going to infuriate the Brexit supporters, and I think you're probably looking at elections sometime here soon. And so the problem with elections is everybody thinks they're counting heads, but as we all know, you never know what happens in that election.
So the election then would determine whether Brexit holds?
The election would be for Parliament. So every one of the members of Parliament would stand for re-election, and then depending on how the election goes, where the majority ends up, if it ends up with the Tories and the supporters of Boris Johnson, then Brexit goes through, and there's no problem at all. But you could also end up with somehow with kind of a hung election, or Labour with enough votes to control the Parliament, and then you've got a serious problem. So it's kind of the Wild West, surprisingly, right there in London.
Jeff Webb, great update. If you had to predict it now, the time you've spent there, they're going to have an election in a month or two. Obviously, he's got to call it. So you'll have members of Parliament that will be in favor of Brexit, men of other candidates running that are not. So it's going to be up to the people again. So it's almost like son of Brexit referendum, right? Kind of like a do-over, right?
I think
it's kind of like a do-over.
There could be other issues. It could be. There's something like that. I mean, you're going to have other issues, like we would in an election, that the people are going to be interested in. But when you really look at it, Brexit is everybody's so sensitized to the Brexit issue that I think, and if the election is done quickly, like we're talking about, possibly within a couple of weeks, then the Brexit issue, it is going to be almost like a referendum. You're right.
So, Jeff, bottom line, though, is the UK had a vote. They had a referendum. The people spoke. They wanted out. And what is it? 2 years later, they're not out.
3 years later.
I mean, I lost track of time. 3 years later, and nothing has happened.
Oh, that's exactly right. The more you learn about it, the more people like us fighting the same battle here, you and me fighting the same battle here, it's absolutely infuriating. And it's their democracy is under attack, just like ours is, when you look at what the Democrats are doing right now with impeachment. So it's interesting. I mean,
there's a definite tie there, and I want to get you to tie that in because the establishment class in the UK basically gave the New Jersey salute to the voters that wanted Brexit, and they said, you know what, you're too stupid to figure it out. We're going to do it. We're not doing it. We got the same thing going on here in the U.S. with this impeachment. I'm going to get your thoughts on that. Stay with us, Jeff Webb, founder and chairman of New American Populist here on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Quick word from our sponsors. I'll be right back.
Virginia has an opportunity this November to elect policy champions that will pave the way to better health care for the Commonwealth. Mary Margaret Castleberg, running for the Virginia House of Delegates, will do just that. Mary Margaret will fight for Virginia's families to have more affordable, quality care. Virginia needs leaders like Mary Margaret Castleberg in Richmond. Elect Mary Margaret to the Virginia House of Delegates.
Americans for Prosperity, paid for this ad.
The best play in town is James River Air's 10-10-10 sale. Go long and take 10 years to pay. Rush to get a 10-year warranty. Gain 10 years of maintenance free. Score big with up to a $2,000 rebate during James River Air's 10-10-10 sale. Take 10 years to pay, get up to $2,000 in rebates, plus a 10-year warranty and 10 years of maintenance. Take it to the house with James River Air's 10-10-10 sale.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
All right, back with founder and chairman of New American Populist, Jeff Webb. So, Jeff, you've been following this impeachment hearings. Obviously, the testimony by Bill Taylor yesterday, not helpful to the president's cause. Democrats are saying this is a game changer. Taylor, highly decorated, got a great resume. But it's interesting, Jeff, what the Democrats do. This is in secret, so they only leak out the pieces of the testimony that enhance their narrative. Anything that doesn't enhance it is not leaked out because they're controlling the entire process. What's going to happen here, Jeff?
Well, it's a great question, but look, I think you go back and first of all, hopefully we get to see the exact transcript from that conversation. Let people decide for themselves. But I got to believe at the end of the day, this is not going to rise to the level of a serious impeachment. Will the Democrats actually will they vote eventually for impeachment? Maybe, but I think they have no chance in the Senate, as we heard yesterday. However, again, when you serve them up, you never know. But one of the things that we're finding, John, you were talking about with you and Steve Bannon about the fact that there's no war room and the White House not doing a great job of kind of addressing actively or proactively impeachment. We're finding the same thing at the grassroots, and that's kind of where that's kind of our sweet spot, if you will. And what we're finding is that this impeachment issue came up so quickly with regard to the Ukrainian situation that the local parties, the state party, the national party, they're not focused on this particular issue. They were all thinking about, well, we've got some time till the primaries and the election, and there's no mobilization of the local citizenry to rise to really call out their representatives and confront them about how they're going to vote. And this is particularly important in the districts that President Trump won in 2016, but that were flipped by the Democrats in 2018. There's 31 of those districts. So many of those, a number of those congressmen, Democrat congressmen, even though they got elected by saying they were going to be working with President Trump, and some of them have to some extent, but already a number of them have come out and said they're going to support impeachment. And there's, again, no grounds at this point. So the people that they represent in those districts who also voted for President Trump are outraged that these representatives who got elected, who are supposed to represent that district, are ignoring the wishes of their constituents. And so what we're doing is going in, working with these different districts, helping them get things organized so they can stand up. We have rallies, we have protests, and we're really just getting this cranked to let people know at the grassroots that they can make a difference in how people vote if that's when it comes to an impeachment.
So you want to engage the grassroots in the districts where Democrats won in 2018 that Trump carried in 2016. You think that's the biggest impact you're able to have, right?
Yeah, I think those are the districts where we have the biggest chance to affect how they vote.
And so the president's going to get impeached, Jeff. We're all convinced of it here at Bannon Operations, whatever you want to call it. We're all convinced of it. I think there's going to be 2 articles of impeachment. He's going to get impeached. And they only need a +1 majority in the House. Now, if they don't get a single Republican, right? They have a 19-seat majority, right? So they can only lose 9 of the 26 Democrats that are in Trump districts. That's all they can lose. Mm-hmm. But the problem is if they only lose 9 of them, 16 will have to have the vote for that. If no Republicans votes for it, Justin Amash but he's already resigned from the Republican Party, so he's just an independent, so who cares what the hell he does. So it's going to pass with no Republicans and maybe by 1 or 2 votes with no Republicans and with 8 or 9 or 6 or 5 Democrat defections. How is that even legitimate?
Well, it is what it is, and it is the rule. And I think while it may be legal, it will remain to be seen if it's legitimate. Because I think, again, that the majority of people in this country, when everybody sees what the facts are, rather than what the Democrats leak, I think most people are not going to be in favor of impeachment. And I think, hopefully, it boomerangs on the Democrats. One of the big problems with impeachment is that it's all the Congress is focused on. Nothing is getting done. Nothing as far as tax reform, the USMCA, the new trade deal with Canada and Mexico, which can have a big positive impact on the working people in this country. Nothing is getting done. All they're doing is focusing on impeachment, and it's not why they were sent up there. So it has the potential to turn around on them. But I agree with you and Steve in that. We've got to work really hard because you never know how these things turn. And I think you're probably right. I think impeachment is in the cards, but I do believe we've got a pretty strong firewall in the Senate.
Okay, so let me just bottom line this 2 things, because I everything you're saying, Jeff, you're right on target. By the way, and we are with Jeff Webb, and Jeff is the founder and chairman of New American Populist. Jeff, I agree with you 100%. We were just talking earlier with a guest, Alfredo Ortiz, Job Creators Network. USMCA alone is going to have a 1% impact on GDP. They've only got 7 days to pass it. They're not going to pass it. They've done nothing on drug pricing. They've done nothing on surprise billing. They've done nothing on anything that would help, nothing on infrastructure that would help the American people, except that all they're focusing on is impeachment, sucking the air out of the room. So we're getting nothing done. Right?
Yeah,
so these Democrats
throw immigration in there with it as well. By the way.
Exactly. Nothing. They won't even vote on it. Can't even get out of committee. So it's all bottled up in there over this impeachment. You're going to have you got 26 Democrats at risk in Trump districts. But here's the bottom line: he's going to get impeached, and it's going to go to the Senate. And the number that I want everybody to frame in their mind, Jeff, is 34. He needs 34 Republicans to vote to acquit. That's all he needs. I mean, I'm to the point now where I'm just looking at reality. He needs 34 Republican senators to say this is baloney. I'm going to vote to acquit. Certainly might have to make, they're going to have leverage over him. But once he gets reelected, this whole thing's over, right? He's going to get reelected. He needs 34 to acquit and then go into reelection in 2020, and I think he can do that. But the number, Jeff, is 34 because he is going to get impeached in the House, and there's no doubt in my mind he's going to lose Republicans in the Senate because, Jeff, they don't want him in there. They don't like him, right? They don't like his policies. They don't like him. They're not comfortable. They'd rather go back to the old way. They don't like new American populists, I can tell you that, Jeff.
No, they don't. No, they absolutely don't. And, what we're finding out there, at the local level is that there is this seething anger, not only at the Democrats, they're number one, and of course the media as always, but they're also really upset with the Republican establishment, that nobody is coming to the president's defense, that they're running and hiding. Now, I say nobody. You got the Freedom Caucus guys.
Right. You got a handful of them. Andy Biggs.
People talk. Andy Biggs is amazing. He's a superstar.
Right.
But you in the Senate, maybe Lindsey Graham, maybe a couple of people, but everybody's really starting to focus on Lindsey Graham about not having done anything with the Judiciary Committee to take the offensive. So there's a lot of anger out there at the Democrats, especially on impeachment, but also the Republicans. And the Republican establishment they better get engaged in all this, because I think they're going to have a rude awakening in the primaries if they don't. So that's what we're seeing out there.
Hey, Jeff, we need you to keep fighting. You need to call in the Steve show. I know he'd love to get your perspective. Jeff Webb, founder and chairman of New American Populist. Jeff, always enjoy your perspective, and thank you so much. Hey, Jeff, just one other thing. I just want to be sure that we have your contact information, and we have it, so we're good. Jeff, thanks for being with us, man.
John, let me get in something real quickly, if I could. We've got two rallies coming up on Thursday. One in Atlanta, in Lucy McBath's district, and one in Iowa, Cindy Axney's. And those can be found on our website, newamericanpopulist.com.
Newamericanpopulist.com. These are rallies that you're doing in the Democratic districts where the Democrats won, where Trump carried them in 2016, right?
That's exactly right. We need everybody to come out and get involved and make their voices known. It's going to be quite a fight here with impeachment.
Jeff, I got to go, but give your website again.
It's newamericanpopulist.com, or also operationtakeback.com, where we're taking back the seats. And all the information on these rallies. We have another one upcoming. We have another one next week on the 29th in South Carolina. Going to try to get the attention of Joe Cunningham there.
Good idea. All right, man. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, John.
John Fredericks Radio Network.